The AI ideas are everywhere. Executives want momentum. Departments want their use cases funded. Vendors bring demos. Developers build prototypes. Then the projects stall. Nobody agrees what should move forward, what should stop, or who owns the next decision. The problem is not usually a lack of AI ideas. The problem is a missing operating model. Most organizations are not sitting around with zero AI ideas. That is rarely the problem. The real problem is usually the opposite. They have too many ideas, too many vendor suggestions, too many department requests, too many executives asking, why are we not using AI for this? And because everything sounds possible in the early conversation, every idea starts to feel like a candidate project. Someone wants an internal assistant. Someone else wants intelligent document processing. Another department wants forecasting. Another wants automated reporting. Another wants customer service summarization. Another wants to connect AI to old systems that were never designed for it. On paper, many of those ideas may be valid, but that does not mean they are equally valuable, equally feasible, equally secure, or equally ready to fund. This is where enterprises get into trouble. They confuse possibility with priority. An AI idea can be interesting and still be the wrong project to work on first. It can be technically possible and still be a bad investment. It can impress executives in a demo and still be almost impossible to support in production. It can save time for one department while creating security, data, integration, or operational problems for the rest of the organization. Without a disciplined operating model, the selection process becomes political. The loudest department wins. The most excited executive wins. The flashiest demo wins. The vendor with the best presentation wins. But none of that proves the project deserves budget, people, architecture attention, security review, and production ownership. The first enterprise AI lesson is simple. AI idea generation is not AI portfolio management. A mature organization needs a way to discover many possible opportunities, but then narrow them down with discipline. It needs to ask, what is real? What matters? What can be validated? What should wait? What should die early? That is the job of an enterprise AI operating model. When AI efforts stall, many organizations assume they need another tool. They look for a better model, a better co-pilot, a better vendor platform, a better prompt library, a better low-code tool, a better innovation workshop. Sometimes better tools help, but tools do not solve the core operating problem. A tool does not decide which business problem matters most. A model does not determine whether the data is usable. A co-pilot does not resolve department ownership. A chatbot does not define production support. A vendor demo does not prove regulatory approval, integration feasibility, user adoption, or return on investment. Those decisions require an operating system around AI work. Think about a normal enterprise project. Before serious production investment, someone has to define scope. Someone has to validate business value. Someone has to check technical feasibility. Someone has to review data. Someone has to think about security. Someone has to estimate effort. Someone has to decide whether the organization can support the result. AI does not remove those responsibilities. It makes many of them more important. The danger is that AI can create the illusion of progress very quickly. A team can build an impressive demo in a few days. They can show a document being summarized. They can show a chatbot answering questions. They can show a model classifying cases. They can show automation that looks close enough to useful. But the hard questions remain. Where does the data come from? Who owns the workflow? What happens when the answer is wrong? How is the system monitored? How does security approve it? What gets logged? Who maintains the prompts? Who owns the APIs? Who pays for the cloud cost? Who accepts production responsibility? The answer is not to stop using AI tools. The answer is to stop pretending tools are enough. The practical rule is this: AI tools create options. The operating model decides which options deserve investment. That distinction matters, because without it, the enterprise keeps buying tools, running demos, and wondering why production value remains so hard to capture. The failure pattern is predictable. First, leadership says, "We need to do something with AI." That may be a reasonable statement. Competitors are experimenting, vendors are pushing, employees are already using tools informally, the board is asking questions, there is pressure to move. Then departments start generating ideas. Some are practical, some are vague, some are really automation problems, some are reporting problems, some are document problems, some are old workflow problems wearing an AI label. Then vendors appear with demos. The demos work because demos are controlled. The data is clean. The path is narrow. The edge cases are hidden. The user expectations are low. Then a developer or innovation team builds a prototype. The prototype may genuinely work. It may summarize a document, answer questions, classify a record, or automate part of a workflow. At this point, everyone wants to believe the project is closer to production than it really is. But then reality shows up. The data is messier than expected. The old .NET system does not expose clean APIs. The SQL Server database contains business logic nobody documented. Security wants to know where the data is going. Legal asks whether the output can be used in a regulated decision. Infrastructure asks who will monitor it. The business owner wants changes. The project manager asks what the milestone actually means. Now the prototype starts to stall. Nobody wants to kill it because people already saw it working. Nobody wants to fully fund it because too many risks remain. Nobody knows whether it should become an MVP, go back to discovery, be rescoped, or be shelved. So the organization drifts. The project stays alive emotionally, but not operationally. It becomes another AI pilot that looked promising, but never became a business capability. This is not a model failure. It is not even always a team failure. It is usually a process failure. The organization had a path to start the idea. It did not have a disciplined path to evaluate, rank, validate, stop, advance, or hand off the idea. That is the chaos pattern the enterprise AI operating model is designed to replace. The missing layer is an enterprise AI operating model. Not an AI strategy slide deck, not a list of tools, not a generic governance committee, not a random backlog of use cases. An operating model is the structured system for deciding what AI work enters the pipeline, how it gets evaluated, how it gets validated, and when it deserves more commitment. At a practical level, the model answers three questions. First, what AI opportunities are possible? This is the discovery question. The organization needs a structured way to look across departments, workflows, pain points, systems, data, customer interactions, compliance work, reporting work, and repetitive tasks. The goal is to build a large inventory of possible AI opportunities without pretending they are all ready for investment. Second, which AI opportunities are best? This is the scoring and ranking question. The organization needs to compare opportunities across business value, workflow fit, technical feasibility, data readiness, governance risk, cost, time, and operational burden. Third, How do the best initiatives get validated and advanced? This is the pipeline question. The organization needs a controlled path from ranked opportunity to prototype to MVP to production development handoff. That sequence matters. If you skip discovery, you may miss better opportunities. If you skip scoring, politics takes over. If you skip validation, you overcommit too early. If you skip handoff discipline, successful MVPs become abandoned experiments. The operating model also prevents a subtle failure, treating every AI idea as if it deserves a build team. It does not. Some ideas deserve a quick deep dive. Some deserve a prototype. Some deserve to be held. Some deserve to be shelved. Some deserve to be killed immediately. Some deserve to advance because the evidence keeps getting stronger. The operating model gives the enterprise a way to say yes with discipline, no with evidence, and not yet with a clear reason. That is what separates AI activity from AI management. The key point is simple. Enterprise AI needs a front-end decision system before it needs another production project. One of the most expensive mistakes in enterprise AI is confusing a demo with a production path. A demo shows that something can appear to work under controlled conditions. A prototype tests whether the idea is technically plausible. An MVP tests whether the solution can demonstrate meaningful business value in a limited but realistic scope. Production requires enterprise engineering, security, support, monitoring, ownership, and operational discipline. Those are not the same thing. A prototype should answer questions like, can the tools actually do what we need? Can the components work together? Is the data usable enough? Are the integrations realistic? Does the developer believe this can be built within acceptable time and budget? The point of prototype is not to impress people. The point is to reduce uncertainty. An MVP should answer a different question. Does this create enough business value in a real workflow to justify deeper investment? That usually means implementing 1 to 3 important business requirements. Not the whole system, not a fake production release, just enough real capability to prove whether the department, users, and enterprise should continue. The danger is stage confusion. Prototype becomes disguised MVP. MVP becomes disguised production. Production development begins without enough evidence. Or worse, a promising prototype is shown to executives, and suddenly the organization acts as if success has already been proven. That is how AI projects become expensive mistakes. The fix is stage gates. At every major point, the organization should make an explicit decision. Continue, hold, shelve, downgrade, kill, advance, hand off. Those words matter. They force the organization to acknowledge reality. Continue means the project still deserves another cycle. Hold means the project may be valid, but something external is blocking it. Shelve means it should leave active attention. Downgrade means it is still viable, but weaker than originally believed. Kill means the evidence no longer supports the project. Advance means the next investment step is justified. Handoff means a dedicated team accepts ownership for production development. That is the discipline many AI programs are missing. The goal is not to push every AI idea forward. The goal is to produce enough evidence to make the next decision responsibly. In enterprise AI, a stopped project can be a successful outcome if it was stopped early for the right reason. A weak AI portfolio is ranked once and then defended forever. A strong AI portfolio is re-ranked whenever reality changes. That is one of the most important parts of the enterprise AI operating model. The ranking is not a ceremony. It is not a spreadsheet created once and forgotten. It is a living portfolio decision system. When a project enters prototype, the team learns things it did not know during scoring. Maybe the data is worse than expected. Maybe the API integration is harder. Maybe the vendor tool is weaker. Maybe the old .NET application has hidden logic buried in the database. Maybe security approval will take longer. Maybe the expected savings are smaller. Or the opposite may happen. Maybe the tool works better than expected. Maybe the data is cleaner. Maybe the workflow is simpler. Maybe a small prototype proves that the business value is much stronger than originally assumed. Either way, the ranking should change. After each prototype sprint, the team should update cost assumptions, timing assumptions, value assumptions, technical assumptions, risk assumptions, and confidence level. Then the project should be compared again against the rest of the portfolio. This is where many organizations fail. They fall in love with the project they already started. Once a prototype exists, people begin defending it. They say, "We already invested time." They say, "The executive liked the demo." They say, "The team is excited." They say, "Let's just keep going a little longer." But sunk cost is not evidence. If the project is now weaker than 3 other candidates, the operating model should make that visible. The same rule applies after every MVP cycle. The MVP may prove strong business value. It may prove limited value. It may expose adoption problems. It may reveal operational burden. It may show that the project is useful, but not important enough to justify production investment right now. That is not failure, that is learning. The rule is simple. Every learning cycle should update the portfolio. That is how an enterprise avoids funding yesterday's assumptions. The AIN.NET approach treats enterprise AI as a managed system, not a collection of experiments. The enterprise AI operating model is the structured front-end system that helps an organization discover AI opportunities, rank them realistically, validate the strongest candidates through prototype and MVP, and hand proven initiatives to dedicated delivery teams for production development under enterprise AI architecture. That definition is important because it separates 3 things that often get mixed together. The operating model decides what should move forward. Enterprise AI architecture defines how approved systems should be designed, integrated, secured, deployed, and operated. Production teams complete the build and own the production lifecycle. When those boundaries are unclear, AI programs drift. Innovation teams keep owning things too long. Production teams inherit half-defined projects. Security gets involved late. Business owners assume a prototype means delivery is nearly done. Executives see activity, but not reliable progress. The first practical step is usually not another prototype. The first step is often an enterprise AI operating model assessment. That assessment asks blunt questions. How are AI opportunities discovered? Who ranks them? What criteria are used? Who can block a project? Who can override? Are overrides documented? How many prototypes can the organization realistically support? How many MVPs can it run at once? What happens when a project should be held, shelved, downgraded, or killed? Who accepts handoff after MVP? What metrics prove the model is working? If those questions do not have clear answers, the organization does not have an AI operating model. It has AI enthusiasm, AI tools, AI demos, and AI meetings. Those are not enough. A stronger commercialization path looks like this. Assess the current operating model. Blueprint the target model. Run a workshop with the right stakeholders. Pilot the operating model on a real AI portfolio. Then govern and improve the process as the enterprise learns. The goal is not bureaucracy. The goal is disciplined movement. The right AI projects should move faster. The wrong AI projects should stop sooner, and the enterprise should know the difference. Enterprise AI succeeds when organizations stop treating AI as a collection of demos and start managing it as a disciplined portfolio of business capabilities. The teams that define decision rights, validate evidence, control handoff, and re-rank work as they learn will make better investments. You can explore more practical enterprise AI resources at ain.net.com. Thanks for watching.